This is the story of a group walk with a difference. All the walkers taking part are walking in their own locations, miles apart from each other across the UK and in Germany. I organised the walk in response to the end of group art walks due to the pandemic. I missed sharing ideas with other artists whilst walking, and I was excited to engage with others for whom walking was important. We met online just half an hour before the walking began and shared a bit about ourselves and our work, which ranged from poetry writing, walking, printmaking and filmmaking. Our intention was to document the ways in which the pandemic has caused so many changes to the way we share public space. It seemed there was no shortage of visual direction. Signage seemed to have sprung up everywhere we went, even right outside our front doors. Constant reminders to stay apart. Easier said than done. It's unsettling to realize others view you as a threat, a source of contagion, that your proximity is undesirable. Much of the signage seems superfluous in carless streets and in town centres populated mainly by teenagers who by nature feel invincible and mostly ignored the exhortations to distance. Queuing systems for empty shops represented a hopeful gesture from optimistic retailers. There was a melancholy and sense of loss in the posters advertising only past events, closed museums and art galleries, low on the list for reopening. Hotels sheltering the homeless and businesses shut forever are a sharp reminder that lockdown is far from equitable. Some of us took the opportunity to explore liminal space created by the absence of office workers and cars, or used the time to rewalk forgotten paths. Most of us noticed a shift in terms of ownership of space. Pedestrians, cyclists and cafes had begun to reclaim the streets from cars. Away from urban areas, however, the changes were more subtle, the boundaries less visible, the rules less clearly defined. A definite sense of ownership was being exhibited. A struggle between landowners and the many people discovering the pleasure of free time and walking was obvious. Paths grudgingly spared the plough were unofficially widened. Physical boundaries gave way to the need to distance. In an attempt at avoidance, new paths were formed. Narrow spaces became a challenge. Passing places amongst the trees emerged, and here in the fresh air, people were afraid to breathe the air I had breathed. Unthinking, I also held my breath when passing others. Although much of day-to-day life had paused, the seasons changed unabated. Wildflowers had bloomed unchecked in the cracks of the pavements and reclaimed unoccupied space. As if in tune with the optimism brought by the spring, there was a growing visual evidence of mutual support. In a new kind of sign language, rainbows spread hope for sunshine after the rain. Even graffiti took on a new kind of social awareness. There was much evidence of people reaching out to one another, communicating creatively. Was this a message for traffic or a metaphor for life now? Returning from the walk, we met again. The walk had been quite an overwhelming experience. It had felt to me as though my attention had been pulled in many directions. My own walk had become suffused with images from hundreds of miles distant. My experiences mingled with those of the others. It had not been at all like walking alongside someone, where the images they capture remain only in their own consciousness.